My girlfriend said, "I scared your mum on purpose today." I nearly dropped my fork. Dinner at our usual Italian spot had barely started, and here was Emma, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. We'd been together a year and a half, mostly smooth sailing, but she had these little explosive moments I'd learned to tolerate. Still, nothing prepared me for this. I set my glass down, trying to steady my voice. "Wait, what do you mean?" She leaned back, looking way too pleased with herself. "Your mum was being disrespectful." I handled it. My stomach sank. Handled it? How exactly? I need some context. My mum, Linda, had been living with me for 6 months while recovering from a major heart attack last year. Stents, medications, the works. Her cardiologist had been crystal clear. Stress was basically poison to her heart. Even minor spikes in blood pressure could trigger something catastrophic. Emma knew all this. We'd talked about it more than once. And yet here she was, casually admitting she'd deliberately terrified her. "She's been passive-aggressive all week," Emma said, tilting her head, smug. "Comments about the dishwasher, pantry, acting like she owns the place. You know how she takes her afternoon walk." I nodded slowly, already feeling the pit in my stomach widen. "Yes." "Well," she said, grinning wider, "I hid in the bushes by the front steps. When she came back, I jumped out and screamed right at her. Perfect timing. You should have seen her face. My chest tightened, and I felt the first rush of anger mixed with fear. Emma, she has a heart condition. You deliberately scared her." She rolled her eyes. "She's fine. Stop overreacting." By the time we left the restaurant, my hands were shaking. I tried calling Mum, and when she picked up, her voice was weak, distant. "Jake, I feel a bit strange. Pressure in my chest. Maybe nothing." My heart dropped. "Mum, take your nitro now." "I'm on my way." She didn't. Within minutes, I was driving like a man possessed, barely listening to Emma whining in the passenger seat about how dramatic I was being. My mind was entirely on my mum. By the time I got to the apartment, she was pale on the couch, one hand pressed to her chest, the nitroglycerin untouched on the table. I called 911 immediately. Paramedics arrived quickly, checked her vitals, ran an EKG, and told me they wanted to transport her for monitoring. I held her hand the whole way, my stomach twisting. When I sent Emma a text, her response was instant. "Oh my God, you are such a drama queen." "She's fine." Typical manipulative behavior. I didn't reply. By the time we got to the hospital, I had made up my mind. Emma was gone. Security escorted her out after she showed up screaming, claiming I abandoned her at dinner and that everything was fake. The ER staff was stunned when I explained what had actually happened. Texts, 911 recordings, medical history, all of it documented. She had deliberately caused a cardiac event. There was no denying it. By the time Mum was settled in an ER room, pale and trembling, I felt a mix of relief and fury. Relief that she was getting proper care, fury at Emma for what she'd done. Nurses checked her vitals, adjusted her oxygen, and kept a close eye on her heart rhythm. Every beep of the monitor made my stomach tighten. My mum had to recount the incident, the bushes, the scream, the terror. Her voice shook, and I felt a chill run down my spine. That fear she described, the thought that she believed she might die right there, it was horrifying. I sat beside her, holding her hand, trying to calm both of us. Emma's texts kept coming, though. "You're overreacting. She's fine." Typical manipulation. Each one made my blood boil. She had no idea, no empathy, no comprehension of the damage she'd caused. This wasn't just a scare, it was potentially life-threatening. I decided, right then, there would be consequences. She needed to face the reality of what she had done. When security escorted Emma out of the hospital, she screamed about being abandoned, about how dramatic everyone was, how she was the victim. A nurse came over, eyebrows raised, clearly stunned. "Is she family?" "Ex," I said through clenched teeth. She deliberately scared my mother knowing about her heart condition. The nurse's expression shifted from confusion to alarm. "Oh, that's serious. Very serious." I nodded. She had crossed the line from reckless behavior to assault. That night, Mum was monitored, her medications adjusted, and I didn't leave her side. Between the anxiety and sheer frustration, I barely slept. I documented everything. Texts from Emma, timestamps, screenshots, 911 call logs, and my mum's statements. This wasn't just about anger or relationship drama, it was evidence. Reckless endangerment, assault, maybe even more. I had to make sure Emma couldn't harm anyone else. The next day, I went straight to the police station. The officer listened carefully as I laid out every detail. Emma's own messages bragged about hiding in the bushes and screaming. 911 recordings corroborated my call. Hospital records confirmed my mum's medical vulnerability. The cop took notes, nodded gravely, and told me the DA would review everything. I felt a weight lift. Justice might finally intervene. Meanwhile, my phone blew up. Emma's friends posted online about how poor Emma was being harassed by a controlling boyfriend and manipulative mother. Not a word about the deliberate scare. I ignored it. Reality was on my side, and public perception didn't matter right now. Her best friend even called me personally, pleading for me to fix this situation, claiming Emma was devastated. I laughed bitterly. Devastated. Maybe, but entirely her own doing. She endangered a life. That wasn't a minor mistake. Emma's mother got involved too, calling me to complain. I explained calmly but firmly. Your daughter deliberately scared my mother, causing a medical emergency. There's a police report, hospital records, documented proof. She can't contact me anymore. I blocked her number. Days later, Emma showed up at my apartment, claiming she lived here and demanded a key. The manager knew the truth. She left after I mentioned police involvement. Then came the restraining order papers. She claimed I was harassing her, threatening her, using my mother against her. My lawyer, thankfully, the same man who handled my house closing, almost laughed when I explained. Assault, reckless endangerment, and she had the audacity to claim she needed protection. The DA called me in, reviewed the evidence, and confirmed Emma's actions were deliberate, premeditated, and dangerous. The restraining order hearing itself was surreal. Emma arrived with her mum and best friend, dressed like they were attending a funeral, performing the victim role perfectly. She spun a story about me being controlling, abusive, isolating her from everyone, all because of minor disagreements with my mum. When she testified, she was trembling, crying, shaking total performance mode. I could barely contain my disbelief. My lawyer presented the facts, texts where she admitted hiding and screaming, the 911 call, hospital records, and a detailed note from my mum's cardiologist explaining the dangers of stress to her heart. The judge's expression darkened as he read through the evidence. "Ma'am, you deliberately scared this woman, knowing her heart condition." Petition denied. Evidence forwarded to the DA. Emma's mother erupted, screaming that the judge was being manipulated, that my daughter was a victim. I stepped back, letting the court maintain order. My lawyer calmly explained, "Ma'am, your daughter's own texts prove deliberate endangerment. Continued harassment could lead to criminal charges." Emma finally left, furious but powerless. The trial happened about 4 months after everything began. The courtroom felt strangely sterile compared to the chaos that had been my life for weeks. Emma showed up, predictably dramatic, dressed in black like she was attending a funeral, her mum and best friend trailing behind. She gave me a glance that tried to say, "You ruined me," but I barely noticed. My focus was on my mum, who was sitting quietly with me, still recovering but stronger than before. The prosecution laid out everything meticulously: texts, 911, recordings, hospital reports, and a detailed letter from her cardiologist explaining how even minor stress could trigger a potentially fatal event. I recounted the dinner, how Emma had bragged about hiding in the bushes and scaring my mum, her expression proud, completely indifferent to the risk she imposed. Emma's defense tried to paint it as a harmless prank, an accidental scare, and even claimed my mum was exaggerating. They said Emma didn't intend to cause harm. The judge looked unimpressed. When my lawyer read the texts where Emma admitted hiding and screaming, her arguments fell apart. The 911 call confirmed everything. The ER records confirmed her panic, and my mum's testimony was sobering. She described the sheer terror, the chest pressure, the fear she might die on those front steps. It was clear to everyone in the courtroom that this wasn't just a mistake. This was calculated, deliberate, and reckless. The DA summed it up perfectly. Emma knew about my mother's heart condition, planned to scare her, and executed it. The resulting medical emergency was entirely foreseeable. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. When they returned, the verdict was unanimous: guilty of reckless endangerment. Emma's face paled, her mother gasped, and her best friend started whispering frantically. Sentencing followed a few weeks later: 2 years probation, 200 hours of community service, mandatory anger management classes, a 5-year restraining order, and restitution for my mum's medical bills, about $8,000 after insurance. Emma's lawyer begged for leniency, claiming youth and a mistake. The judge was unyielding. This wasn't a mistake. This was deliberate endangerment and sustained harassment. You showed no remorse. You harassed the victims, lied in court, and tried to profit from a fabricated victimhood. Her mother wailed, her best friend cried, but the sentence stood. Emma lost her job at a senior living facility, with the conviction she can no longer work with vulnerable people. After court, I reflected on everything the past 18 months, the subtle red flags I'd ignored, the drama over small things, the need to always be right, the inability to handle criticism. It was all there. I had chosen to overlook it because things seemed mostly fine. Lesson learned: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Emma moved back with her parents. She still posts online claiming injustice, still playing the victim, but it no longer mattered to me. My mum was safe. She's doing great now. Cardiologist happy with her progress. We moved to a new place, upgraded security, and life slowly returned to normal. I started seeing someone new recently. Took it slow, introduced her to my mum early on. Casual coffee shop meeting. No drama, no territorial fights, no bush tactics. It's wild how peaceful life can be when you're not dating someone who thinks terrorizing your elderly mother is an acceptable form of conflict resolution. The restraining order will last 5 years. By then, it won't matter. I don't ever want to see her again. People ask if I feel bad about ruining her life. No. She chose to deliberately endanger someone vulnerable, harassed us relentlessly, and lied in court. Every consequence she faced came from her own choices. My only regret is not recognizing the red flags sooner. The final takeaway: when someone deliberately hurts your family, there's no forgiveness, no second chances, no understanding. Protect your loved ones. Document everything. Pursue consequences. Move forward. Don't let anyone guilt you into downplaying abuse or reckless behavior. My mum is safe. That's all that matters. Everything else is just paperwork.